Overthinking is a superpower. You're just using it wrong. And if you're someone who overthinks a lot, you've probably heard this your whole life. Just turn your brain off. Stop thinking so much. You're overcomplicating it. Which is honestly one of the most frustrating things you can hear. Because if you could turn your brain off, you would have done it already. Some people can just shut things down and move on. Others can't. Their minds keep going, thinking, connecting dots, and running scenarios. And today, I'm going to be explaining how overthinking is not a flaw. It's just how some of us are wired. I'll be straight up with you. I'm a chronic overthinker. I've been this way in my entire 25 years of life. And I don't remember a time when my mind wasn't busy. And to be honest, it's really exhausting. Not necessarily in a long day at work kind of way, but mentally draining. There are moments where it's honestly paralyzing, especially when I'm stuck thinking about something I can't control. Before presentations, before job interviews, before important meetings, my brain would spiral so hard that my body reacted. I'd cough a lot to the point where I'd gag and feel nauseous and even feel like I was gonna puke, like my nervous system was completely overloaded. If you've ever felt like this before, you know exactly what I'm talking about when you're frozen in place and your mind keeps running loops and loops and loops. But the craziest thing is, almost every single time that my overthinking led me to being so stressed about something, the thing I was stressing about went fine. The presentation went better than expected. The interview was smoother than I imagined. I even made connections in that interview. The meeting wasn't nearly as bad as my brain made it out to be. And you would think that after enough of those experiences, I'd learn to not overthink myself to that extent. But I didn't, because overthinking isn't logical, it's emotional. Here's the part nobody really tells you. You don't overthink because you enjoy it. You overthink because it feels safer than not thinking. And if you're being honest with yourself, you know exactly what I mean. When you overthink, it feels like you're doing something, like you're preparing for the worst case scenario. You're staying ahead of the pain. You may be overthinking by replaying conversations that you've had, imagining how things could go wrong, running through every possible outcome in your head, not because you want to torture yourself, but because if something bad happens, at least you can say, you know what, I saw this coming. That thought alone gives you a sense of control. And control feels calming, even if the entire process is miserable. Think about this. How many times have you worried yourself sick about something, only for it to turn out fine? And in that moment, you feel a lot of relief. But instead of learning, I didn't need to stress, your brain quietly learns something else. This stress kept me safe. So the next time, it does it again. You brace yourself harder. You think more. You prepare for it worse. Because your mind would rather be exhausted than surprised. And over time, that turns into a habit, not because it works, but because it feels familiar. This is where I want you to really hear and digest what overthinking actually is. Overthinking isn't anxiety by default, it's anticipation. It's your brain trying to look ahead and connect dots. Most people react to life after things happen. But you don't. You think before things happen. That's not broken thinking. That's projection. You imagine conversations before they even happen based on your previous experiences. You imagine problems before they exist. You imagine outcomes before they even materialize. Projection, when used right, is actually powerful, and I'm going to explain why. The moment that changed my perspective on what overthinking was not something inherently negative, but something with the potential to be very, very positive, was if my brain can imagine worst case scenarios this clearly, it means it has imagination, it has range, it has depth. The problem isn't that your mind goes places. The problem is where it keeps going by default. Your thoughts drift toward the same dominant place: fear, self-criticism. What if things go wrong? But here's the part people miss. The fact that your mind can go there means it can go somewhere else too. You don't control the first thought, but you're not powerless over the next thought. This is where things actually start to shift. Not because you magically stopped overthinking. That almost never happens. But because you stop treating thinking like the enemy. Instead of trying to shut your brain up, which usually makes it louder, you start aiming it. You give it something to do. Because the truth is, your mind doesn't spiral because it's broken. It spirals because it's bored, scared, or trying to protect you. And protection without direction turns into absolute chaos. Let's say you're stressed about the future, and not in a vague way. I mean the real stuff. The economy, your career, your relationships, your timeline. Whether you're falling behind while everyone else you know seems to be moving forward. Your brain instantly jumps to, what if everything falls apart? And on the surface, that actually feels like a reasonable question, but it's actually a trap, because that question has no endpoint. There's no answer, no resolution, just more scenarios stacked on top of each other. So instead of stopping the thought, you change the question. You tell yourself, okay, if this did fall apart, what could I actually do next? That's the moment your thoughts stop attacking you and start working for you. That single shift gives your mind a job. Your brain stops spiraling and starts sorting. Now something subtle happens. Instead of every thought screaming for attention, your mind starts prioritizing. It separates noise from signal, fear from action, possibility from probability. You're still thinking, maybe even thinking a lot, but now your thoughts are moving somewhere, and that's what you want. Here's something I do when my overthinking starts getting out of control. Not something that I read in a book, but something I actually use. I grab my notebook, like a piece of paper, something. I write the problem at the top, and then I split the page down the middle. On one side, I write things I can't control. On the other, things I can control. And yeah, the can't control side is usually massive. I usually fill the whole page up. Other people's opinions, the timing, the outcome, the past, or just random external chaos. But then I look at the other side, and sometimes there are only 1, 2, or 3 things there that I actually can control. One email that I can send. One habit that I can clean up. One conversation that I've been avoiding. And honestly, that's enough. It is enough to focus on those 1 to 3 things on that other side of the page, because now your thoughts actually have direction. Instead of trying to carry the entire world and deal with all the stresses, responsibilities, and things that you quite literally can't control or change, you should put your energy into the few things that actually move the needle. This works because your brain doesn't need certainty, it needs traction. Even small movement calms the nervous system down, not because the problem is gone, but because your mind knows you're no longer frozen. Next, I'm going to talk about when overthinking turns inward. This is the dangerous part. This is where overthinking stops being useful. Overthinking becomes destructive when it turns inward. Instead of thinking about solutions, you start thinking about yourself. What's wrong with you? Why you're behind? Why you should be further along by now? And why other people seem to just get it and you don't? Here's the scariest part about this. It actually feels productive. You tell yourself it feels like self-awareness, like reflection, like honesty, but it's not. It's self-interrogation and criticism without mercy. It's like revving a powerful engine while the car is in neutral. There's a lot of noise, a lot of energy, but no movement. That's why overthinking feels exhausting, not because you're weak, but because all that power has nowhere to go. This is why advice like just stop thinking, calm down, or be more positive never works, because it misunderstands the problem. It treats your mind like a malfunction instead of a high-powered tool. You don't throw away a powerful tool because it can hurt you. You don't blame a chainsaw for cutting someone who just doesn't know how to use it. Instead, you learn how to handle it properly. Your mind isn't too much, it's just under-directed. When you aim overthinking instead of fighting it, something changes. Not overnight, but gradually. You get better at planning because you naturally think ahead. You get better at seeing patterns because your brain connects dots quickly. You get better at long-term thinking because you've already lived 10 versions of the future in your head. The same mind that overwhelms you is also the same mind that can build things. Systems, ideas, relationships, a life with intention. Your brain and overthinking were never your enemy. It just needed direction. So, here's what I want you to remember. You're not trying to stop your thoughts. You're the director of them. You can't shut your mind off, but you can nudge it in a direction that ultimately leads to action. And the moment your thoughts start moving you forward instead of inward, that's when overthinking stops being a problem and starts becoming a strength. That's how it becomes a superpower. If this video resonated with you, consider subscribing. It's free, it takes a second, and I make videos for people who think deeply about life and want to learn how to use that mind, not fight it. Thanks for watching, Rardo, and I'll see you in the next video.